Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Greetings, my fellow freedom love-solving thinkers. Thank you for tuning to LL3-Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful realms of planet Earth. Today's date is Sunday, July 26, 2025. This is episode 1865. Media Matters Facing Bankruptcy and White Hat Fed Chair Publicly Humiliated. Before I proceed, you can find me on multiple social media sites and podcast channels. Just type in Looky Luck number 3, Looky Luck Roman number 3 with 3 eyes, or the Looky Luck Roman number 3 podcast. In addition, if you have any questions, comments, recommendations, all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use decorum. Hit me via email to ll3.podcast@proton.me. If you don't donate, go to paypal.me or cash.app/Looky Luck number 3. You can go to Steemit as well. Crypto Love, follow at LL number 3-podcast. Oh yes, so just been working a lot, getting tired. I admit there are times I have always hit those areas, like I get exhausted, and I do apologize for that. Hey, if I would have made a lot of money on this field, that'd be great. But you know what? That's how it goes. But the whole thing is, man, free speech is essential. We have the right to speak our minds. All you folks out there can do the same. Yeah, I was browsing through the WhiteHouse.gov website on this ending crime and disorder on America's streets. Some folks call it Rex 84. I'm not saying they're in the wrong or anything like that, but it is very interesting. According to the previous report, 274,224 was the highest ever recorded. Endemic vagrancy, disorderly behavior, sudden confrontations, and violent attacks have made our cities unsafe. Their view is restoring a commitment on here to provide assistance to state and local governments through technical guidance, grants, or other legally available means for identification, adoption, or the implementation of maximally flexible civil commitment, institutional treatment, and step-down treatment standards. I'm just going through here, fighting vagrancy on America's streets. Same thing with the Attorney General. Shall take immediate steps to assess their discretionary grant programs and determine whether priority for those grants may be given for grantees in states and municipalities that actively meet the below criteria. Enforcing prohibition on open illicit drug use, or on urban camping and loitering, and enforce on urban squatting. So it's more like giving out the monies out here, right? Enforce where necessary, adopt standards that address individuals who are in danger to themselves or to others and suffer from serious mental illness, substance use disorder, or who are living on the streets and cannot care for themselves through assisted outpatient treatment or by moving them into treatment centers, appropriate facilities via civil commitment. To ensure that homeless from the Attorney General, shall ensure that homeless individuals arrested for federal crimes are evaluated consistent with 18 U.S. Code 4248. All the necessary measures, safety stuff and all that. I'm just like browsing through here, give them shelter and all that good stuff. People are mentally ill. Yeah, it's some folks may claim this could be a Rex 84. I wouldn't be surprised. It depends on the it varies, but it's been going on for a good period of time. You can thank the central banking system putting money out of thin air. The COVID lockdowns didn't help a damn thing. It just made things more despotic, as far as I'm concerned. And we got to remember, too, about the whole thing on habeas corpus. Some people, I think it was Stephen Ambrellis, like his name is, talked about this could be violating habeas corpus. And here's the thing. It's been executed on December 31st, 2011 to be exact, on the NDAA 2012 Act about detaining suspected people and having being there indefinitely. So it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. Okay, it's been utilized for a good period of time on the war on terror. We can even use, if you study the history of Executive Order 1966, mostly Americans, mainly Japanese, Italians, and Germans, taken to these camps without due process. So I'm not saying the Trump administration is going to do this, but it can be done by their successors. Always got to be aware. And actually, based on this provision, it'll go under the Office of Management and Budgets or the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So it'll be interesting here, but I'm not really too crazy about it. But a lot of folks out there can't even help themselves, which many of them have to take responsibility for their actions. I'm not saying I'm better than them by any means. Things do occur, and always got to think long term too, folks. What's going on with especially these big metropolitan communities? Things are going up, printed up out of thin air. Fiat currency system is very dangerous, and I know Richard Nixon made that error on getting out of the gold standard. Even Roger Stone, his confidant, admit that. And even before, Lyndon B. Johnson was pissing our money away for the foreign entanglements, unnecessary wars, a la Vietnam. But the central banking system is a big epidemic. That's how the Nazis got into power. When the Federal Reserve, when their private central banking system decided to go print money out in there in 1922. Then in 1928, it became a disaster over there, especially in the big cities like Berlin. They understand that's how the National Socialist Workers' Party took advantage of that. So you always think everything long term. That's why, my friends, I tell people, I always recommend this: live below your means. My life isn't perfect either. I went through obstacles too. I've been very thankful. There's folks out there, they want to spend money like it's nothing, and they're still in debt, using their credit card bills and all that. And of course, many have families. I'm always got to look at these areas, and I'm not saying it's simple. Got to stay on top of our game the best we can. Don't get caught in the drama, the BS. Who's better than who? That's totally irrelevant. But always keep that in mind. Always look at things historically, because this has happened in the past. And always try to better ourselves and be multi-talented on certain skills. It's nice that you can have money, but you still want to know your trades. Multitask. You thank yourselves later. So, well, like I said, it's just so many things are occurring. I've been reading stuff too about some of the volcanoes like Mount St. Helens may erupt any time, and even buffaloes and animals are going a little bit frantic near Yellowstone. I'm not saying it's going to explode, but It can happen tomorrow, anytime. So on a political scale, material things are all irrelevant and minor. So don't get yourself wrapped up on this garbage. Mother Nature is a lot more powerful than what we know. We're just little ants on this planet. And even the usurpers know they're in the same boat as us. That's why I can mock them, laugh at them, tell them where to go, because I got natural born rights. I don't need permission from the state, whether federal, state, or local, and beyond. Now I digress. How to give you my intake on this. And I know, too, there's a claim that one of the attorneys actually met with Ghislaine Maxwell. Is it Maxwell? Yeah, maybe her. Just another canary in the coal mine. Claims that there's dirt on Trump. I'm not saying she's right or wrong, but folks better start backing it up. Observe responsibly, always be vigilant, and never trust the government. So, enough of that. I'm going to be reading here a couple of articles. Came out yesterday. This one came from Jim Hoft from the Gateway Pundit. What BS? Far left hate website Media Matters facing bankruptcy. They're pretending like they're the real victims. This is what it says here. For the left hate site Media Matters for America, or MMFA, is staring bankruptcy in the face as it drowns in debt caused by government investigations, legal expenses from Elon Musk, and lost donors, according to the New York Times. For those of you not familiar with Media Matters for America, claims to be a nonprofit journalism watchdog organization. The organization's entire mission is to put conservative websites, personalities, and talk show hosts out of business. They have been highly successful over the years. Media Matters has devoted time and energy attacking the Gateway Pundit for over a decade now. In fact, Media Matters wrote over 1,000 hit pieces smearing the Gateway Pundit over the years. And here's a little full screen shot on this. So you can actually read it for yourself. It's 82 pages long. Media Matters was also successful in blocking our content from Twitter, X, and Facebook. Now the president of Media Matters is making appearances on the far left channels and whining about how the attacks against his company is pushing them to bankruptcy. This is truly rich coming from the president of the largest far left organization that's only goal is to get rid of the public square of conservative voices. What makes matters worse for Media Matters is that the far left law firm Elias Law, led by infamous leftist hack Marcus Elias, has fleeced them with millions in legal fees. Media Matters, this means the organization could face bankruptcy. We are not sorry to see this horrible organization go under. What awful people. Here is Media Matters President Angelo Carazone, whining about the injustice of Trump kneecapping the liberal fake news and media outlets. Let's just check this out. Hopefully I can get this on here.
Where exactly are we, Angelo, right now?
I mean, we're at the beginning stages of a massive transformation and a closure and a reduction in civic spaces. Whether or not Trump and Carr, who's the FCC chairman, and the rest of Project 2025's acolytes will be able to execute and fully implement that change is up to all of us. But we are at the beginning of that, and there are plenty of examples, one after the other, of, as Commissioner Gomez described it, cowardly capitulation. And, that trend isn't going away. It's only increasing. And on the flip side of that capitulation has been an increase in threats, not just from Commissioner Carr, but elsewhere, to leverage the power of government to pressure business entities into caving or giving them what they want. I'll give one example before I turn it over to Cornell. the FTC recently approved a merger between two of the largest media buyers. And one of the conditions of that approval was that the media buyers would no longer remove ads or place advertisements based off of political or ideological considerations. I mean, that's an outrageous action for them to do, totally unprecedented. But they made it clear that if they wanted that deal to go through, no more saying you won't advertise on certain extremist kind of content. And that's one small example. So we're at the beginning of a larger change. And right now, we see a lot of examples of it happening. Not a lot of backbone.
Cornell, what are your thoughts in this moment?
Well, I got to agree with Angela.
I'm sorry, my friends. I do find it very comical because I remember they had a meeting years ago at Turnberry Owls in Aventura, Florida. That's I guess in like northern Dade County, north of Sunny Isles or North Miami Beach. And I'll tell you this: these folks are censored monsters. Okay, they're usurpers. And I'll be very honest. Welcome to blowback. Witch hunting doesn't pay. And I'm no Trump lover or worship the gateway pundit, anything like that. But when you go after folks, you better learn to receive. And now these people start whining because they're going after people like even Alex Jones. I don't care if you like these individuals or not. I'm pro free speech and free press. I can decide for myself. I don't need some charlatan organization telling me what should I can listen to, what can I watch. There's a difference between them and myself. I'm not a subversified hack. I treat these people like these other goofballs, like the Anti-Defamation League, all these giant organizations. Don't matter, okay? It's just giving you some examples. I renounced this institution for a long time. Now they're crying. Boo-hoo. You get what you deserve. They do. It blew back in their faces. Don't be surprised if they were even funded by USAID. Like every other of these quagmires or quack groups, all right? Nor the GOP, the Republicans, they have their own listening group. They have their own charlatans as well. But I love this, okay? You get what you deserve. I can decide what I will listen to, what I watch, what I read. I don't need any assistance. And that guy here is a total dork. And he's like Dumb and Dumber, for God's sakes. They're on MSNBC. And that's what happens when you're anti-liberty. You know what? You don't like it? Pack your crap, move to Cuba. Go contaminate space there. The Cuban people getting ready to uprise again. Or hopefully be organic, too. Just tired of these goofballs trying to tell me, well, I can't read. I love every minute of it, so I think it's great. All right, gang, I'll be right back, so stay tuned. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Cool. So we're going to do one more here. This just came from Anti-New York Times. I know some of the laptops, especially from Google, they like to censor. So Mike King wrote this. Came out yesterday. He had a thing called Anti-New York Times. Of course, the headlines here: Trump attacks, Fed chair have intensified. And over here, Trump spars with Powell over Fed's costly renovations in rare visit. Here's a rebuttal from the Anti-New York Times, or Mike King himself. It is not interesting to know how all of one's highly regarded and untouchable individuals and institutions have, in the age of Q Trump, suddenly becomes easy punching bags stripped off the manufacturer's stature and impunity they've once enjoyed. Here's a list of said sainted individuals and institutions which has recently, as 10 years ago, were only ever visually attacked by the far-right fringe. Now they are routinely whipped publicly by either Commander Trump himself or one of his many open secret minions, as with great effect increasing numbers of normies. The UN, NATO, European Union, the shitty little state, Israel, AIPAC, the Israel Lobby, the Anti-Defamation League, the mainstream media, academia, Hollywood, the EPA, the IRS, the Department of Education, the NGOs, tax-exempt foundations, PBS, NPR, the climate change hoax, Bathhouse, Barry Obongo, Hillary Clinton, late-night comics. Condemning any of these entities is something which even many conservatives could barely muster the courage to do above their breath, lest they call a racist, sexist, anti-Semite, conspiracy theorist, etc. But now the timid right and mushy middle have been given permission to think and speak negatively and in polite company too, all about all the above. Amazing. The amounts of nothing less than a sociological revolution, the necessary prelude for unveiling the great replay of the final destruction of the whole rotten, diseased temple, alluded to by Q. Observe responsibly, of course. And now it's the Fed's turn to be roasted at a whole new level, exceeding the previous new level established just 2 days ago. In fact, the Times article includes a polling graphic highlighting the Fed's unprecedented decline in popularity. A slide which only gets worse as Trump's attacks over interest rates and wasteful spending intensifies. Oh, one moment here. I'm just had a check on something. I think I got something here. Yeah. Sorry about that. It says here, nothing has happened. My black pill friends. A nice little thing on End the Fed by Ron Paul. Number one, the Fed has already been ended. The ongoing battering of its reputation is designed to lead to public appearance in advance of its transformation abolition. 2 and 3, the great Ron Paul once thought to be a crackpot will be vindicated. Trump's most recent public humiliation ritual of white hat Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is the most powerful one to date. It was executed in public and made for TV professional wrestling spectacle taking place inside the belly of the beast itself, the New York Times explains. Presidents do not typically go to the central bank in an official capacity, reflecting the long-standing independence of the institution from the White House. But Mr. Trump's anger towards Mr. Powell has been building, and the president decided on the visit earlier this week. The Fed was not altered before the White House announced that Mr. Trump would tour the Fed. The tour quickly exposed tensions between the president and Mr. Powell. Mr. Trump, standing next to the Fed chair, said the renovation cost had ballooned to $3.1 billion beyond the $2.5 billion that the central bank has indicated. Mr. Powell questioned where the number came from. Mr. Trump pulled out a piece of paper summarizing the cost. The Fed's days are numbered. Might this bizarre and massive renovation be related to the Q operations plan to convert a Rothschild's already captured bank into a new national something or other which will serve as the HQ of our new honest gold-backed monetary system? Let's see what happens. Trust the plan. Well, I'll be very honest. I'm not a big Q fanatic or anything like that. I observe responsibly, of course. However, the people out there need to learn to engage instead of trusting the plan. Do a little research. Do your homework. Share information with others. That's what's great about we got technology via internet. Great tool to share good stuff. Of course, you got the crackpots out there as well. But let me tell you folks something. The Federal Reserve is illegal, null and void. And even Woodrow Wilson said that was a big mistake he made. And if you read the U.S. Constitution, to be exact, I got one right in front of me here. And let me just browse through for the moment. Article 1, Section, I guess 10? Let me see here. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1. No state shall enter into any treaty or confederation, grant letters, marque, and reprisal, coin money, emits bills, credit, anything but gold and silver coin, a tender, and the payment of debts. Right there. And what's been happening in the states, they've been using bills signed into law by the governors of the states to use gold and silver as legal tender. I know Florida's been the latest one, but other states are following through. That's how you do it, my friends. So one thing I like. I'm not you don't have to be a Trump fanatic by any means, but you can always look at the bigger picture. Okay, regardless of what you think, I like what's going on. Okay, I have my reservations with President Trump, but this is really entertaining, you can say. But we always got to be aware he is a centrist, folks. He's not a conservative or right winger, like all these so-called political paradigm experts say, right? Please. Remember, Andrew Jackson started the Democratic Party, right? The Democrats. Any Jacksonians left in that particular private institution? No! They're all mob of just become Orwellian snowflakes overall on the federal level. But each state's different too. They're all trying to contaminate, use that Marxonian ideology, right? It's nothing more than garbage as far as I'm concerned. Hey, the whole thing is, my friends, decentralize. I'm not saying this is easy. We all have different avenues. Never leave all your eggs in one basket. It looks like, according to the Federal Reserve, at least 66 banks may be in trouble, conservatively speaking. So you may have to scatter around and put your stuff, right, especially retirement, in different avenues. Even yours too has got to do the same thing. But always remain vigilant. Never trust the government. But this here, I find it entertaining. So you don't need to trust the plan. Always engage. Well, that will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, all that good stuff, whatever you do, please use the quorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes of these articles on my page. And if you want to contact me, go to LL3-Podcast at Proton.me. If you want to donate, go to PayPal.me or Cash.app/look3. If you want to support Gateway Pundit, and even Mike King, do it. Give him a little support. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they put out to, folks. But have fun and enjoy, and always contemplate more thoroughly. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.